Couple of days ago. I will say that Winwin Marquez comeback is pretty much confirmed, as even herself, she posted some brand new photos wearing swimsuit and just kind of like really looking the part and in pretty good competition shape. So I will say that the girl is currently undergoing preparation and training. It is no secret, of course, that she won the Reina Panamericana title a couple of years ago, and she became the first title holder for the Philippines from this particular pageant. In my video about her, I also mentioned that she is a mother, a wife, a very accomplished woman as well. So she definitely fits the mold of what the Miss Universe Philippines organization will look for. And at the same time, she has this reputation of being the Latina slayer of the Philippines, as she is the only Asian woman so far that has managed to win the title at Reina Hispanoamericana. I can already imagine the powerhouse performances that she is going to deliver. So
do any changes affect my chocolate labels?
I'm about to get the chills. All right, I want to talk about a queen that has been rumored to join pageantry once again for a couple of years at this particular point. And for a while, it seemed that she was planning to make a comeback this year at Miss Universe Philippines. I am talking about Hannah Arnold. Who doesn't love Hannah? Oh my God. I remember her memorable time at Binibining Pilipinas. Also, she gave her absolutely love Hannah. Now, let's address some of these rumors, right? We all know that Hannah competed back in the day at Binibining Pilipinas. Of course, she was Binibining Pilipinas International 2021. She finished within the top 12 at Miss International, which is a very good placement. And for quite some time now, people have been saying that she is going to join Miss Universe Philippines 2025. One thing about Hannah is I feel like when she was competing at Binibini, everyone was praising her and loving her because she was the prototype for that. Then when she won, people were so overjoyed and just over the moon about the fact that she was the representative for the Philippines at Miss International. But for some reason, I feel like whenever Hannah went to compete at Miss International, the vibes on social media were just not that great. People were quite harsh, very critic of her. And I think that to a certain extent, it kind of affected her performance. I don't know if she can confirm or deny these things, but just based on my perception. So I do think and hope that Hannah will consider making a comeback at some particular point. However, if I'm being honest, I think for Miss Universe Philippines, it's a little bit of a stretch for Hannah. Actually, she is a quintessential Miss International for me. The way she speaks, she looks, she carries herself. But if she was to make a comeback, I think she will be a perfect fit for Miss World. Putting those things aside, Hannah herself came out to confirm that she is actually not joining Miss Universe Philippines 2025. Instead, she will be supporting all of her sisters who are planning to join. So when she said sisters, does she mean friends or batchmates? Who do you think is going to be? Well, to continue with some former Binibining Pilipinas alumni, let's talk about Bea Magtanong, or Patch Magtanong as most people know her here in the Philippines. Similar to Hannah Arnold, she is a former Binibining Pilipinas International, very loved, very popular during her time in her national competition, and of course also received a lot of support when she went abroad and she competed at Miss International. She did manage to obtain a top 8 placement, and one of the things that I found about Patch when I was doing my little research is that she was very vocal during her time at Binibining Pilipinas as she was going for the Miss Universe title. She ended up getting the international one, and I think that she did the best that she possibly could with what she had. But let's not forget that the ultimate goal was always Miss Universe Philippines. So now that it's been a couple of years, maybe she had time to prepare, to recover. She is supposed to be making a comeback. Now, on the realm of how true this is, I will say that this is mostly on the rumor side of things, because personally, I haven't seen anything confirming that she is joining or any hints from her side per se. But I have heard from a couple of people that she might be joining in 2025. Let me know if you will be looking forward to her comeback and if you will support her if she decides to do so. Now, I have three more girls that I want to talk about, and the next one I am really excited. And of course, it is Iliana Aduana, our Miss Earth Air 2023. Who doesn't know Iliana? She has competed in different pageant systems in the Philippines, from really smaller competitions such as Miss Fit to bigger national stages such as Miss Philippines Earth, Binibining Pilipinas, and her latest achievement in the world of pageantry was, of course, finishing as a first runner-up at the Miss Earth 2023 competition in Vietnam, which automatically gives her the elemental title of Miss Earth Air. Iliana is not fully confirmed, but all of the hints and all of the things that I've been able to find online are pointing towards the fact that she is planning to make a comeback on the stage of Miss Universe Philippines. Honestly, when I think of Iliana, I think that she is such a beautiful and versatile girl that she could actually fit any prototype, any pageant system. I could see her as a Miss World, I could see her as a Supernational, I could see her as a Miss Universe, I could see her as so many different things. So I feel like it's all about the branding and how she's gonna package herself basically to go for that national title. It's also no secret that Iliana has not only just the beauty, but also the brains, the advocacy. Truthfully, she is the full package. And in terms of performance, she is most definitely a showstopper. I have never seen Iliana in motion and not been in awe by her. One more thing I would like to highlight about Iliana, her pageant rollouts. And what I mean by rollouts are her campaigns are always immaculate and so well thought out. So I'm really looking forward to that if she is actually making a comeback. Everything from the photo shoots to the videos to the interviews to even the outfits, everything is super meaningful and purposefully planned to increase her reach and the impact of her message. Absolutely, yes, I am crossing fingers to see her one more time on the stage of Miss Universe Philippines 2025 this time. All right, up next we have Maureen Montaigne, once again a former Binibini, as she competed in 2021 alongside Hannah Arnold, finishing with the title of Binibini Globe 2021. We all remember Maureen. We know her. She is absolutely everything. She went internationally and she absolutely teared the competition. She came back home with the title of the Miss Globe 2021. In my opinion, Maureen is a force to be reckoned with, okay? And one of the girls that I'm really most excited about. Anyone within my close circle of friends who ask me who is one of my ideal beauty queens, and I always say Maureen Montaigne. I think that she is incredibly beautiful. She is a great communicator as she is a host. She also has her own podcast. She knows how to carry herself on stage as she has extensive experience as a model, but also she has competed on a national level, not just in the Philippines, but also in the US. And of course, she is also an international title holder, just like Winwin Marquez on this particular list. I don't think anyone will disagree when I say that Maureen's look is very commercial. It's just like any beauty standard from all over the world would actually appreciate the type of beauty that she brings to the table. And in terms of performance, she was absolutely always so memorable. So let's wait and see. Maureen herself hasn't said much about this. Actually, I even asked her once if she was, at some point planning to compete in Miss Universe Philippines, and she was kind of hesitant about it. But recently, there is a little development with Voltaire leaving a comment on one of her photos with a capital U twice in the comment, hinting at a possible U for Universe? I don't know. Let me know down below. Would you be happy if Maureen Montaigne was the next Miss Universe Philippines? All right, everyone.
Want to go somewhere?
Yes.
Hotels? Agoda. Cheap hotel prices.
Book now.
All right, everyone. And last but definitely not least, we have Roberta Tamondong. She is, of course, a beautiful young beauty queen here in the country. I don't know if you guys remember back when she competed at Binibining Pilipinas in 2020. 2022, I believe. She was one of the youngest girls of the entire edition, and she managed to end up with a national title. She got the Miss Grand Philippines crown, and may I remind you that at the time, she became our very last Miss Grand Philippines from the Binibining Pilipinas pageant system. She competed in Miss Grand International, and she did a great job. Although I do remember that her time in Thailand was a little bit controversial. Like, most fans were really supporting her and saw the potential and what she was accomplishing in the competition. But then the finals with the placement and the controversial top 5 was a little bit of let's say that we were talking about that for a while. But of course, that had nothing to do with Roberta, but mostly with the way that the organization runs and makes their own decisions, right? Of course, she's beautiful, a great performer. And what I'm really mostly excited about, if she is actually making a comeback, is that we get to see an older version of Roberta, wiser. We get to see the growth, but we don't have to compromise the beauty and the performance that we know that she already delivers and brings to the table. In terms of Roberta, this is a rumor, okay? I've heard a couple of people bring up her name, as well as some posts that she had, kind of cryptic, but not really giving away too much. So it's kind of an assumption that she might be considering making a comeback. I guess we have to wait a couple of months to know for sure. But in the meantime, let me know if you are down for a Roberta Tamondong renaissance. All right, everyone. So there you have it. Those are the confirmed and rumored comeback queens this year for Miss Universe Philippines 2025. Of course, I am sure that this list is going to get longer and longer as the months and the weeks pass. All I can say is that with this caliber of girls, we can expect most definitely a bloodbath for this year's edition of the competition. And this is even without considering the fresh faces and the newbies that will be joining the competition, that of course we shouldn't be taking away credit from them just because this is their first time joining a national competition. So let me know down below, who are you excited to see back on stage? Who are you rooting for? And if you have any suggestions for upcoming content and video, also, by all means, let me know. Thank you for watching until the end, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye now.
Be extra with Dell, bitch.
Extra honest. Extra. Unbiased. But a little bit shady. Go ahead, like and subscribe.
Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Del, and you're here to be extra with Del. If you're new to my channel, I must let you know that I blog about beauty pageants yearly and talk to you guys about my extra honest, extra unbiased opinions about the queens. And today, first and foremost, you guys, Happy New Year. I know I greeted you guys Happy New Year on my last video. But again, I just want to say Happy New Year's again, you guys, and I appreciate you guys like a lot. Anyways, we are starting the year just how we left it, you guys. Drama. I can't, you guys. So this video is going to be about Miss Universe Argentina 2024 Magali. And her dethronement, you guys. So I'm gonna give you guys stuff. You know, if you're not keeping up with the drama in the pageant world, well, I'm gonna give you a summary of what happened and what led to the dethronement, and just a little bit of my opinion on this whole scenario. Okay. Also, by the way, you guys, I'm a little bit high. So if I'm stumbling on my words or something like that, it's because your girl is a little bit lit. She had 2 gummies earlier and it's like kicking in, you guys. So please, I know I can't be a good role model. I'm sorry to those young people out there. I'm sorry. Your girl gets high. I'm sorry. And I'm hearing it in front of the camera doing this drama. I didn't expect it to like kick in so quickly. Oh my God. Anyway, guys, if you're ready, I'm absolutely ready. Let's go.
I have 12 emails, 30 messages, and a proposal due by 10. How am I already underwater?
I'm in the same boat.
I'm in an actual boat.
I thought Grammarly just fixed grammar. They make boats now?
It's more of a metaphorical boat. Because I've been using Grammarly's AI for years to keep me high and dry. Try it. Grammarly can look through your writing to make it easier to understand. See? Shorter.
Whoa.
Clearer.
Cool.
And better. Now people will get what you're trying to say and you won't be flooded with confused emails.
Can you do mine?
No problem. Your writing's good, but your word choices could be better.
Wow.
Now your writing is as confident as you are.
If that's even possible. New email.
Oh, well, what about our proposal?
Let me take a look. Woof. You'll be in deep water if you show this to the CEO. Grammarly can point out what's missing. Right there. The CEO will want to see a deadline. And here you should connect the projections back to company strategy.
Yeah, how could I do that? Mia, can you do a deep dive?
On it. 10% higher revenue by next year.
I'm sending it in.
The CEO loves it. Budget and headcount are approved.
Let's get everyone on board. I meant figuratively. Download Grammarly for free.
Tulong para sa tamang paglaki ng anak mo. Dito ka sa subok at pinagkakatiwalaan.
Pedisure Plus.
All right, you guys, so let me brief you guys a little bit of what happened if you're not keeping up. So, you know, for you non-Latinos out there, my viewers from non-Latin area, so I kind of like follow a lot of Latino vloggers also, just, you know, since it's neighboring, it's right next to where I live, California. So, and there's so many Latinos around me. So I have to be absolutely involved with what's going on with the Latino pageant community. But anyway, so on December 19, 2024, Magali did an interview with a pretty well-known blogger named King Lucho. I actually have watched King Lucho before, but I do love King Lucho. He is a little bit shady. So he's kind of, if you're not familiar with him, he's kind of like me, very like extra honest, unhinged, and just probably shadier than me, honestly. He's pretty shady. I love that about him though. Anyway, so King Lucho interviewed Miss Universe Argentina 2024. And so she said some stuff about certain queens from Dominican Republic to Brazil to Peru, etc. We'll get to that in a little bit. So she did an interview. She expressed her experience from her point of view, and I think other vloggers begin to repost some of the stuff she said. I think there's one YouTuber vlogger who actually created like an entire video of he created an entire video of just all the negative, the things that she said about certain queens, you know, and some were very honest, and some maybe she should have just should have kept it to herself. But you know what? You should be free to, like, you know, speak your mind and express your express or say something about your personal experience. I think that's really important. Anyway, so obviously more YouTubers and TikTokers created a lot of sound bites that that sort of started or ignited the drama again. I mean, gosh, the pageant is over, you guys. And still drama for Miss Universe 2024, a mess. I can't. So I knew that like all of this was happening. I just didn't want to like talk about it, or I didn't think there was anything that's going to come out of it until until she was dethroned. All right, but let me give you guys some of the things that she mentioned during during the interview that she did with okay, so here are some of the things that Magali mentioned during the interview. Let's go one by one, okay? All right, starting with Miss Universe Dominican Republic. Of course, of course Celine Santos is going to be involved in this. Hello. Miss Dominican Republic, Celine Santos was very mean. There was no one in the competition liked her, and she deserved to top 30. I can. Yes, girl. Tell us how you feel, okay? I can't, but it's, Celine Santos, she's had like a history of not getting along with other queens, even from way back from Miss Universe Dominican Republic, All right, here's the second one. Besides Miss Panama, Italy Mora, there were many other contestants who had hired makeup artists and hairstylists, but they have not been punished. Okay, that's why she's a threat. Okay, that's why she's being silenced, because she's, it's exposing certain things about how dirty these people are in the organization. Okay, you know what I mean? So, so they haven't been punished. And the number 3, she said about Miss Brazil, Luana Cavalcante was mean as Miss Dominican Republic. Miss Argentina spoke Portuguese to her, but she replied in English and then ignored Miss Argentina. Oh my God. I can't with this, you guys. I mean, what do I have to say about that? I'm not sure. I mean, sure, Miss Brazil does kind of look like she could be like, she might have some sass and attitude, but she didn't seem like she was very mean. And maybe she was
always trying to work on multiple things at the same time, but it's an exciting time for sure. Favorite OPM song? Question from Van. Favorite new OPM song? I think I have a lot of favorites. It depends on what genre. Is it dance, pop, soul, edgy, rap? I have a favorite song in each genre. I actually don't have a favorite genre because I guess you lean towards a certain genre, different phases in your life. I do appreciate music. Music is actually going to be heavily integrated in my life this year. So, alam niyo na. A lot of exciting things are happening this year. Actually, I was amongst family the last few days also. As some of you might already know who that family member is, but we just caught up and we just talked about 2025. And it's just an exciting year for a lot of people. But I think, if anything, 2024 really taught me how to, I guess, recenter with what's really important, recenter on what's, what you want to do for 2025. But 2024 was exhausting on all fronts. Lahat ng sulok sa pagiging pagod. But it was so worth it. It was so fulfilling. And if there's one thing that I hope a lot of my supporters, my family can take is, we oftentimes go through such hard times, and sometimes that's what stops us from trying to do a lot of things. But I always tell myself, will the rewards be worth it? Is this something that will make me grow? Is this something that I can benefit from or learn from? And that's really what gives me the energy to do what I do and to keep doing what I do. But yeah, at the end of the year, I tallied how many working days I had. And I think I only had maybe less than 20 free days the whole year, literally on my calendar. The only times they were considered free is when I would travel with friends. And then yun lang. And then you look at my schedule being here in Manila, it's like 3, 4, sometimes 6 events every day. And it's all fulfilling. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat, especially given the urgencies of 2024. But it really puts you into perspective after having such a jam-packed year. And that's why I also had to disconnect from I wouldn't say disconnect because I was always there just lurking around. But I really wanted to refocus and recenter where I want my content to be focused on, where I want the value from experiences to be showcased. And it's exciting. It's exciting. I always move with purpose. I don't move with just the intention to post. Intention is always so important. And that's what I had to recenter at the end of the year, is recentering where I want to take this amazing platform that we've all created together and just go from there. And my 2024 recap reel ka po ba? Yes, I do. I have a whole series of things to be grateful for. A new series of things to post from last year. I even have my whole Paris Fashion Week recap that I have yet to post still also. But yeah, this year it's a lot of personal things that I'll be showcasing as well. I do have a question though. Where would you guys prefer that I go live? Would it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube? Let me know. Yeah, At the Dolly just came in, looking for Pluto. Pluto's under the desk right now. I'll show you guys. Pluto's so kawawa. So kawawa. Say hi, Pluto. Wawa na. Do I listen to Beanie songs? Yes, I do. I love Beanie. I have only personally met, I believe, Maloy, and she's amazing. Favorite song, though, I think would be Pantropico for sure. But a lot of her songs are really fun, like Salamin Salamin. Do I miss my family? I miss everyone. I miss a lot of people. One of my 2025 resolutions also is to really invest time in some of my personal relationships that essentially I just want to be able to reconnect with a lot of people. I really dedicated so many years in a row to towards career building and platform building and just really working towards a specific goal, which I think is very, very important, especially at my age. But I guess what had to be palit dun is syempre losing time for people that do matter in your life. And that's something that I want a new series of things to post from last year. I even have my whole Paris Fashion Week recap that I have yet to post still also. But yeah, this year it's a lot of personal things that I'll be showcasing as well. I do have a question though. Where would you guys prefer that I go live? Would it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube? Let me know. Yeah, at the dolly just came in, looking for Pluto. Pluto's under the desk right now. I'll show you guys. Pluto's so kawawa. So kawawa. Say hi, Pluto. Kawawa na. Do I listen to Beanie songs? Yes, I do. I love Beanie. I have only personally met, I believe, Maloy, and it's just amazing. Favorite song, though, I think would be Pantropico, for sure. But a lot of their songs are really fun, like Salamin Salamin. Do I miss my family? I miss everyone. I miss a lot of people. One of my 2025 resolutions also is to really invest time in some of my personal relationships that essentially I just want to be able to reconnect with a lot of people. I really dedicated so many years in a row towards career building and platform building and just really working towards a specific goal, which I think is very, very important, especially at my age. But I guess what had to be inkapalit dun is syempre losing time for people that do matter in your life. And that's something that I want to prioritize also for 2025. It's just a really healthy work-life balance. I was with my dad actually over the holidays, and he was saying, Michelle, I think you're overworked. I can't help it. It runs in the blood, especially the Marquez D line. We're all workaholics. We just love constantly moving and growing. But yeah, because I got sick over the holidays and I couldn't fly to the US anymore because I was struggling. So that also prompted this whole knowing where to put your energy for this year. Okay, so for today I have a huge meeting. Well, it's not a huge meeting. It's an internal meeting with one of my favorite creatives in the Philippines. So we are conceptualizing a series of things I cannot announce yet, but it's going to be super, super exciting. Yeah, so I'm just going to update you guys how that is. And then later on today, I have a lot of meetings. I think I have 6 today. But just keep me posted online. Let me know online also where you guys want to do this live series. I do plan to do it at least 3-4 times a week. Just trying to get a consistent schedule with all of you, just so we can chat every week So that's a pinky promise. So just let me know. I do have to run. I have to get ready. I heard the doorbell actually, so that must be my glam team. So just hit me up. Dito lang ako, always in the background. Very excited to see what you guys are creating for this year also. And with that, bye.
of the month. Mas lighter.
Yes.
But with heavy topics.
Yeah, it still brought me anxiety,
Mhm.
but I think it'll be a much more lighthearted conversation. So our
Yeah.
book of the month this time around is
The Wedding People
by
Alison Epach. Epach,
wow.
Espach, Espach. Of the month. Mas lighter.
Yes.
But with heavy topics.
Yeah, it still brought me anxiety,
Mhm.
but I think it'll be a much more lighthearted conversation. So our
Yeah.
book of the month this time around is
The Wedding People
by
Alison Epach. Epach,
wow.
Espach. Espach, Espach. Espach. So sorry for
If you're
butchering
the
that.
author and you're watching this,
So sorry. So I found this book off of a recommendation off of Book Talk. The same girl that we followed, Brady. Siya nag-recommend to. So when I saw it, I was in Canada yata for one of my travels. And Canada? LA. No, I was in LA. I bought this in LA. Sorry. Narito na ako. And I saw this and I was like, ooh, I want to read that. I had no context of what it was about. But knowing that it was a good read, I picked it up. And when I read it, I really loved it. And I was like, Beshi, you have to read it. So Nicole read it and
really read through it really quick.
Mm-mm.
As in page turner siya for me. And I was surprised that you picked that up actually because that was not in my radar at all.
Mm.
Pero yeah, very, very fun read. It is, ikaw na ito, is in charge of the synopsis. This is why I can't do chismis, guys. Because I'm really bad at like breaking down the timeline. Yeah, I can't be part of the Marites group. So
The details were lost.
CZ Cat.
Okay, so The Wedding People follows our protagonist. Her name is Phoebe, and she is a late 30 aged woman who is booking herself into an idyllic hotel in Rhode Island with nothing but a silk dress and a pair of heels that she's wearing, no luggage, no anything, because she plans to unalive herself.
Real dark.
It's quite a dark premise, but the topics in this book are handled with so much care and lightness. Not to make light of it, but there is an interjection of humor here, and it's refreshingly real, the dialogue
Yeah.
that Phoebe has with herself.
Even the dark thoughts. Na parang, where did that come from? But yeah, if I was alone with my thoughts, like the scariest ones, it'll be those.
Yeah, so I think this book allowed us to feel really seen because her main predicament, other than her husband leaving her after many rounds of failed IVF in a marriage that I feel that she talks about, she really appeased her husband. Whatever he wanted, she went along with. She's quite a people pleasing personality. And then so she really sacrificed a lot of herself. She
Yeah.
dulled herself down. I don't think realizing what she was doing.
Because it didn't feel like a sacrifice because you love the person so much and you're each other's world. So you don't see it as sacrifice, you see it as love.
And then when she's washed up in the affair that happens between her husband and another woman who actually is a friend of theirs.
And ka-workmate nila. Actually, kaya ko siguro pagka-friend, pero yung workmate mo pa kasi you have to let go of a job that you're in.
Yeah, and it was a job as well that she talks a lot about not really feeling fulfilled because it's almost like a filler job because she's supposed to be writing this book on Victorian literature. And she just loses the motivation to write it. She doesn't have any motivation to do it. She feels ashamed for it. So she just finds herself washed up in this part of her life where she's like, I have nothing going for me. I've been left by the love of my life. I'm not wanted. I don't have anything to offer.
And her cat died. That was the trigger of it all.
Yeah,
Like, that was the
their
last
baby.
the last straw.
So this is the premise that we enter into the wedding people. So this hotel that she checks into for one night in Rhode Island, the whole hotel is booked out by a wedding of this bridezilla type character who was booked out the whole hotel but seemed to have a lapse in judgment and not book that one room. So when she's there, the bride just assumes, oh, you're a part of the party. Hi. Like just she's doing the rounds. She's how would you describe the bride? What is her name?
Lila?
Lila.
She is like super perfect talaga. Siya yung kinaiinggitan mo na girl. Ganon.
Mhm.
And then perfectionist din siya and very curated yung buong life niya. Aesthetic. Kaya with the whole wedding planning talagang on point siya and she doesn't want anything to go wrong. So when she finds out that ano pa ng main character? Phoebe wants to unalive herself on her wedding.
She's like, no, don't do it. Why would you be so selfish? Can you just not?
Yeah.
Parang ganon. Like, can you just not? This is my wedding. Together. But then Lila herself is also a very strange character because when you first meet her, she seems very pretentious. Like she's been left like this big grant from her past father that's like $1 million to have this wedding essentially. So you would think like, oh, it's a motivation. They want to celebrate their love. But then you start to realize as you read, they're not really in love.
Or they're practically in love.
Yeah. It's like ticking a box for each other for different reasons.
Yeah, and I have so many questions about that, which we'll dive into later on. But the characters here, I love that they are not one-dimensional. Like, for example, the main character, si Phoebe, she's not a Debbie Downer all throughout. Para she doesn't feel heavy, even if typically that's how other books would write her.
Right.
And then si Lila is, like bound to be annoying, pero she's not. I love the multi-dimensional. Big word. Of the characters in this book. That's why it's been such a fun read because it's like layer. Layer by layer yung characters. Even the sister of the groom, si Marla.
Yeah.
Like, it's so twisted. Like,
Mhm.
sobrang, siya, conservative, government. Mayor
Then she
ata
had
siya,
an
no?
affair.
Yeah. Tapos yung the things she did to save her marriage. So, yeah. Anyway.
So it's a really relational story because you get to know the guests from the wedding, so the different family members, and then there is a interaction that happens with Phoebe and a man in a hot tub at the hotel, where they just like really hit it off. They have a conversation that's just easy, and she's like, "I want to sleep with this guy." So she says it to him. She's like,
Yeah, which is
"Do you
unlike
wanna-"
her.
No, it's very unlike her. So the Phoebe that we're discovering at this point, she's no holds back. Like she's like,
Yeah.
"What have I got to lose? Like I've
She's
always
already-
lived
she
my
has
life
one
for
day na lang.
others.
Oo.
So bahala na. Like I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do."
Yeah.
And the guy rejects her in a nice way, naman. And then she's just like, "Well, at least I tried." Only to find out the next day
he's the groom. Dun dun dun.
So just seeing how it all plays out is really interesting because I think the book could have gone away to make that the kind of anchor in which the whole cuento would sit on. Like,
which I would
are
hate.
they, aren't they going to end
Yeah.
up together? Are they gonna like ruin this upcoming wedding? Are they gonna say what they feel and just, are they gonna say what they feel and like just ruin all of the plans? But it didn't. The book revolves around Phoebe rediscovering herself. It's like, what do I want? What brings me joy? Like, who am I gonna serve in this moment? Myself or other people? And as someone who is a people pleaser all up to that moment, or like all the way up to that moment, it's so liberating to see her internal dialogue and how she's like choosing to build herself up from the lowest of lowest points of her life. And that's what I really resonated with. I thought it was really a raw, unfiltered look into the messy parts of healing, told in a way that wasn't super bigat.
Yeah. Pero what are the emotions that triggered you?
Oh, well, I think as someone who does have some people pleasing tendencies, I was telling you, it was the thought that you are present and consciously taking part in every decision that built up to that point, only to look around at your life and see it and say, I don't like it. Because, I mean, Phoebe was there. She built this life with this other person. And as it fell apart, she was consciously there in every decision, but it wasn't hers. Oh, like when she looked around at her life, it's like it wasn't hers. She couldn't take ownership of it because she was trying to do it for other people, or do it for the husband, do it for what a good wife should do, or a good teacher, because she's a teacher.
And she couldn't have seen that either unless they actually broke up.
Yeah.
Diba? Which they did. So, like, yung hurt really showed her the truth eventually, which was part of her healing. Na parang, parang hindi rin naman pala ganun ka wow yung nawala sa akin.
And it's also like a picture of giving yourself grace, because sometimes when we end up in a situation in our lives, it's like, if only I knew better back then. But the thing is, you wouldn't come to that realization at all. Like, you had to go through it to figure out that, oh, so this is how that got me here, and these are the only lessons that I can learn at this point. I couldn't have been wiser back then because there was no wisdom yet to be had. And then when I passed this on to you, I was like, sis, it talks about marriage in a way that I think it's gonna confront us both.
Yeah, and as 30-something-year-old unmarried women, I was like, why did you pick this book? It's triggering. But seriously, like, the emotions that it brought up to the surface for me, everything I fear about marriage is tackled in this book. Like, I would always remember, like, boys would always say, gusto ko ng simpleng babae that I could just be happy with. I want this simple life. And that was the reason why Phoebe and her husband did get married. It's like, okay, I'll be happy with this little life. This little life. And then suddenly the husband starts saying, when he started winning awards and stuff for his writing, suddenly he's like, let's do something fun. Diba? Phoebe was like, it suddenly became all about doing something fun
and spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so she was like, wait, this is really who he is? Is this who he is without me?
Parang nag-change yung needs niya. And I'm so scared of becoming the boring person in the relationship. And you don't actually know at which point you become a boring person. Na parang feeling ko sometimes I try so hard to, like, achieve the next goal.
Yeah.
Kasi I need to be spectacular all the time. Sis!
Hey! Banana!
Oreo.
Diba? Tapos parang, ang gulo kasi in a marriage, you eventually outgrow each other, and kahit naman individually, hindi same pace ng life nyo. And then suddenly, you're in a marriage and it's still not gonna be the same pace. Lucky kayo if it is. I think before, it's highly possible because the choices were quite limited compared to now.
Yeah.
So, parang now I feel like it's so much harder. And I'm like, what if ma-outpace ako ng husband ko?
Yeah.
And then I'm left behind, which is Phoebe. Like, she pretends to write in her office.
Yeah.
Tapos pagka-uwi na, oh my God, the dreaded question na,
how's your writing
what did
going?
what did you do today? So parang, there are times na wala akong ginagawa in a day. Like, I will just read. This guilty pleasure ko siya. Kasi diba hosting, hindi naman siya everyday.
Yeah.
And then my boyfriend would ask me na, what did you do today? Diba, were you productive? Ganon. Tapos I'll be so stressed na parang, I finished the book.
That's productivity for me. No, but it's true, especially in our line of work that is so sporadic.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I totally understand because like if you're with someone who has maybe a more structured 9 to 5.
Yeah. Or you tuloy-tuloy for a long, yung parang months, yung contract ng work. Yung ganon.
Yeah, and I totally get it. And I think one of the points that you're bringing up is maybe outpacing each other in a relationship or like you are developing and growing, but then you forget how to discover and learn about each other because you've been in a not mundane, but like you've been with this
In a
person for
routine.
so long. They're like, I know this person. I know what they like, what they don't like. But it's evolving pala. So yeah, there was a curtain pulled back on the relationship here with Phoebe, and then the fallout from that and how she felt discarded. You know how they had the meeting with the divorce lawyer,
Yeah.
and her husband was just like, okay, so that's it, and she was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like her internal monologue of like, you must not even care about me. Like I chiseled down myself to fit you perfectly, only to be discarded, and now I don't even like the shape of myself. It was like that. And
Yeah.
so, and then when the cat died, which was like their baby, if they couldn't have children. Children, which I think drove wedges into their relationship that they weren't able to resolve. I feel like she just felt like a shell of a person. But it's so interesting because the husband comes back.
Yeah. Binalikan siya. Pero
Because she doesn't answer the phone calls and stuff. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm worried about you. Answer the phone. Are you okay? Blah, 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 blah. And then he
Kasi
just
nga,
shows up.
she's always conveniently there.
Yeah. She's accessible.
Yeah.
And then the husband comes in and is still calling her his wife, and he wants to be back. He wants the comfort again. Like he didn't realize what he had until it was gone.
Which is what she wanted talaga.
Initially.
Like, yun yung fantasy niya in her head.
But then when she gets it back for like 2 days or a day, she realizes it's not what she wants anymore.
Yeah. Pero sarap na feeling na yon.
Oo, medyo...
Yung na-outgrow mo.
Yeah. Very
Diba?
validating.
Yeah.
I was like, screw you, husband.
Yeah. And I think yun talaga, alam mo, naka-move on ka na kasi hindi mo, it's not based on feelings lang na, oh, I don't feel sad or hurt anymore. It's more of, I don't fit into that shell anymore. I can't
Yeah.
go back and piece it together to fit that mold anymore. And just the thought of going back to it makes you so scared na ang liit-liit pala ng buhay ko noon. Like, I made it so small.
Yeah.
Diba? Pero going back to the people-pleasing tendencies, because I feel like tayong dalawa, we're people pleasers in the relationship.
Yeah, we are. Just eager to please.
Shucks! We're so serval! Happy to serve kami!
Ang lakas ng
Pero feeling ko, sis, if I got married at like at the age I wanted to get married, which was like 26, ganon, I might have ended up like Phoebe. Kasi like, up until today, I really thought na, you know, as long as, yun nga, I live like Phoebe na I fit myself into the other person, my partner's world. Parang, oh, I have my own life. And it's a big life na, alam mo yun? Pero at the same time, parang nako-contain ko rin siya eh.
Yeah.
Parang, iba eh, pagka nasa relationship ka, the person you choose to be with for the rest of your life, yun na yung magiging pace ng buong life mo.
Yeah, because I think
Diba?
also it's our positioning as women in a relationship that like we're not meant to take the lead, or even if we do, in some we're meant to be a complementer. Do you think that's a unique woman experience?
Ay, kanina nga naisip ko, di ba yun, paano ko na-outpace ako ng husband ko? What if ako ma-outpace ko yung husband ko? Diba?
Ibang dynamic
feeling
din
ko
yun.
magpo-pull back ka rin. Kasi I have spoken to women also na who have become really successful. Kasi yung success naman, honestly, it's huge part luck din yun eh.
Oo.
Diba? Parang you didn't know that it'll just get that big. So, okay, yeah, it's kahit na pareho naman kayo hardworking. Tapos marami tayong women in the industry na yung husbands, yung nagiging complementary sa work nila. Kasi parang hindi, di ba, you need a helpmate din.
Yeah.
Tapos sabi nung girl sa akin na, kaya parang they franchise this type of business na mas pang guys. Yung very manly business.
Yeah.
Kasi para balance eh. Ganon. So parang kung naging successful yung wife, share sa husband na parang okay, hanap tayo ng paraan.
Yeah.
Kasi hindi naman ako mawawalan pagka nag-share din ako dyan. So, yung ganong pero sortihan din yun eh, 'di ba? Para not everyone is lucky to have the resources to balance out economic standings in a relationship.
Oh, that's very true. So it's I think it presents like a very unique dilemma. It's as unique as the people within it. But it's that's definitely, I can see that it's a fear that would echo with both of us, because we also have very public careers that publicness can translate to success or like ingay. Whereas if you're dating someone who maybe has like
a stable job,
it could maybe be outshined, or people question like, ay, bakit yung partner mo naging ganyan lang yung trabaho nila?
Shucks.
Kasi sometimes like people be like, ay, dapat Hollywood actor yung madudate mo, whatever, para ma-level. So there's also perception of like society that falls onto that as well, which I think affects a relationship if you're in it then.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how Phoebe would rebuild her perception of what a life well lived looks like for her on her own terms, and to see that level of growth from something that, it's just like, I just wish that I could go back to being wanted by my husband, or just being comfortable, and then when he actually wants her, she doesn't want it anymore. But I think that another interesting dynamic as well here was how Phoebe the character navigated grief, but also allowed that grief to be a point of connection for the younger sister of the groom, si Juice.
The daughter.
Oh yes, the daughter. the daughter of Gary. Juice is her nickname. Ano ba ang name niya? Like, real name niya? Basta. Juice yung nickname.
She prefers to be called Juice, like the drink.
So there's a really lovely, touching story about family within the book where the groom, Gary, has a daughter, Juice, and his wife actually passed, his first wife, from a sickness. Yeah. So they also are navigating grief. And then there's that whole dynamic of now Gary is getting remarried, supposedly to Leela. And Juice is like, but you cannot replace my mom, kind of thing. But I think it's wonderful because sometimes when, like, Phoebe's going obviously through a really hard time, but she uses like what she's going through. In a way to connect to Juice. Like, I understand what grief feels like. I understand like that feeling of loss. And is able to connect with her on that. And I just thought that was really like heartwarming because when we go through such hard things, sometimes it's hard to see the purpose in it. Because sometimes it has to feel like, oh, why did I have to go through this? Like, this was so horrible and so hard. But sometimes it gives you the authority to speak to another person in a healing way, or being able to like touch. encourage them through your story to be like, I went through something really similar and maybe this is what I did, or you're just not alone in what you're feeling. So I really enjoyed that.
I love that. Yung parang shared grief.
Yeah.
There is power in shared grief.
Yeah, which is kind of contradictory if you would think about it, but it's true. Like you can feel incredibly seen by someone who's gone through something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that.
Okay, going to the cast of characters this time. Kasi pinakita talaga yung side of the characters that are toxic. So how do we relate? Or anong part of those characters do we see in ourselves as well?
Ooh.
So for example, see Phoebe as a people pleaser. And then Lila as a perfectionist. So parang very perfectionist in her relationship naman. Na siya yung nagli-lead as opposed to Phoebe who follows. Kasi parang nangyari the groom, yung grief niya sa nag-pass away niya na wife, parang he needed someone to have a direction. Tapos gusto niya this time, siya naman mag-follow.
Yeah.
Kaya feeling ko valid pa rin yung love story nila ni Lila.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Kasi parang yun din pinakita ng book na, for example, is there a right reason for being married? I mean, yes, meron. Pero kunwari yung setup nila was, nung kinompare nila how they decided to get married, si Matt and si Phoebe, they were just like, spontaneous, pakasal na tayo. Chay. Yeah. Pwede naman ganun lang eh.
For the whim of it. For the hope of it all.
Diba? Parang, yun lang naman yun eh.
Yeah.
Tapos yung kay Lila and Gary, medyo may pagka-setup siya. Pero shared grief din siya kasi si
The dad
Lila
was getting
lost.
sick.
Lost her dad. Tapos naging parang fate na doctor niya is this groom.
Yun nga.
Yun.
But then
So,
it ended up being a weird dynamic as well. Kasi umasa siya sa doctor, si Gary, that he would save her dad.
Yeah. Pero parang, ayun nga, they both acted on their grief.
Yeah.
Na parang, would you say it's a wrong kind of love din naman if it was what they needed at that time?
Ako, for me, it's not right because even though like we have the responsibility to deal with our crap and trauma as much to our ability, sometimes we don't have the resources or the awareness, but like I just don't know if anything great comes out of two unhealed people trying to like band-aid each other from what they're feeling at the moment. Ako lang, especially considering there was a child involved, si Juice. Like, so I don't know for me, but I totally get your point. Like, it's the practicality, and that is the reality in many marriages, and some that really last the like test of time. Like they were either set up by their families, or like they really just ticked each other's boxes, and maybe like it wasn't that passionate, sparking love that is in the books, but it had that.
It works.
Yeah, it works. So yeah, I think it also depends.
Yeah. Yung danger lang doon is if you are only connected, yun lang yung nagtatay sa inyo. Which is, it wasn't so obvious in the writing na parang, yun lang yun. It really is quite complicated kasi sometimes unhealed people don't know that they're unhealed.
Exactly.
Lalo na kung barrier ka.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So what if, yung kailangan nyo lang talaga is healing, companionship. Yun. So parang I like na itong book, it acknowledges na wala talagang equation yung love.
Yeah.
Parang you can't tell na, it happened this way, so it's gonna go well. Or it happened this way, so it's probably not gonna end well. Diba?
Parang na-contrast ng ibang types of relationships, no?
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated. Another character that I saw a little bit of myself reflected in was Leela. In that she didn't feel comfortable or didn't want to really be herself around the people around her. But in Phoebe found someone who, like, I don't know this person, but I can be myself. Not that that's a complete reflection of me, but I did go through a journey of feeling finally comfortable with, like, bearing all to my close friends, like yourself included. Whereas before, I would always want to be like, no, kaya ko, I'm capable, I'm doing okay. Like, yes, I'm going through this, pero kaya ko yan. Where I find, like, now it's so liberating and comforting to be able to have friends in your life that you can go to and just be like, just letting down all the walls and being like, this is me and my mess, and I don't have any answers, and I just want to rant or cry or, yap, and that's okay.
We listen and we don't judge. Feeling ko lalo na kasi nung start din ng relationship namin ni Kat, parang we're both very put together beauty queens. Parang we got our ducks in a row. So parang feeling ko kung magko-confide ako kay Kat, for example. Parang,
May solution na.
Oo. Or it has to be a logical problem na may mapupuntahan na equals this. Pero now it's like, the barest of ourselves.
And it's so comforting because I feel so seen, no? Like, as in, sobrang comforting siya.
Pero how do we feel about the men in this book? Okay, starting with... Okay, gusto ko ilabas kasi talaga yung inis ko. Char! Sa ex ni Phoebe, si Matt, yung bumalik na ex nga, yung biglang, nakakairita talaga yung mga lalaki na gusto nila ng simple, pero pag kami
may spice, gusto nang isang timpla lang ng spice, tapos after
ay, mahilig ka pala sa labuyo. Di mo naman sinabi.
Yun na nga. I thought it was such a weird dynamic with this freaking husband as well, because, like, yeah, like you said, he wanted the simpleness, he wanted the routine, but then you could see that he really enjoyed the spotlight of all the awards and the recognition by his peers, and he was really being recognized as someone who was really stellar in, like, what he does. And I don't feel like he navigated that well with his wife, like with how Phoebe recounted it, like sa mga school functions, parang she would just sit there habang nagsuspeech yung guy, tapos she'd feel like an accessory almost.
Na parang mag-dress down pa nga siya, di ba? Na parang,
Yes.
this dress is too much. Hindi naman isipin nila ako yung highlight.
Yeah. Talagang she really, like, shaped herself just to be a mirror to put the light back on her husband.
Pero couldn't that also be her fault?
Yes, that is also
Diba?
her fault for sure. But, like, wouldn't the first step of her, like, stepping into her own be the encouragement from her husband?
Ako na feel ko naman dun is the husband was walking on eggshells around her, na parang
Yeah.
careful not to offend her, ganun, kasi alam niyang medyo may yung writing slump,
Oo.
writer's block siya. So parang he was just safe around her, and then parang there are lines, if I remember correctly, na he doesn't, parang pina-play down din yung achievement niya.
Yeah.
Ganon.
Mm.
Eh, parang feeling ko naman si Phoebe din, ano siya, yun nahihiya siya kasi hindi rin siya yung, oh, but my wife she just released this book too. Or she's also winning awards. So
Mm.
parang feeling ko yung lack of confidence din ni Phoebe.
Gets. So, nag-adjust din yung husband. Okay.
Oo.
Yeah.
Pero kasi, I've been watching, coincidentally, mga relationship movies. Yun, nasa plane ako nung, recently. It was the Anatomy of a Fall. Tapos
I
it was this, French film siya. Away mag-asawa. And then, yung labo-labo eh. It's always gray. Tapos it was the girl naman who was excelling in her writing din.
Okay.
Tapos writer din yung husband, pero lagi siyang tawag sa kanya project man.
Oh.
Yung project lang, hindi niya natatapos.
So, like, you start all these new tasks or
Oo.
projects, but they never see its finish. Right?
Yeah. Tapos parang biniblame ng husband yung wife kasi parang ayun nga, I had to adjust my schedule to homeschool our kid, ganun, so I can spend more time with the kids so you can write. And then when you're not writing, it's like you need time to think of what to write. Pero the guy also, parang hindi rin, lalo na ang hirap ko writer ka kasi you don't know when it'll come.
Yeah.
Parang pag-artista, for example, di ba, you don't know when your big break or big project is actually it na. So, yun ending, parang yun wife also, from his project or idea, ginamit ng wife niya and finished it into a novel. Pero
Okay.
different naman. Like, the thought is there. Now, reflective of yung pinagdaanan nila sa life nila, which is the accident ng kid nila. Pero yun, yung dynamic lang ng fight nila, yung blaming, na sino ba nagpaliit sa taong to? Sino
may fault?
Oo, who sucked out the life out of who? Parang both.
Yeah. Yeah, gets.
Oh, di ba?
Yeah, so
parang,
complicated din siya.
yeah.
It's interesting film, oh.
Oo. Yeah, pero puro talkie, so. So yeah, yun lang. That's another thing that
Layer.
scares me about marriage. Yeah.
Well,
Never the blaming din na.
I
It's never
know.
clear cut. Kasi lalo na
I
when you do things out of
know.
love, it's like the concept of why we don't like utang na loob. Diba? Kasi I thought we did this because you wanted to, or you really wanted to help, or because you love me, and then suddenly parang may
May
bilang pala siya
resentment
sa'yo.
pala.
Yeah, so I'm so scared. Getting married is scary.
I think relationships are scary because they're so
scary.
complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we just gotta do our best to navigate it the
Oo
best that we
nga
can.
Pero ba't nga ba tayo nainis kay Matt kung hindi naman pala natin ma-pinpoint?
Well, also kasi I also was really sad that Phoebe was going through like the failed rounds of IVF and she really internalized it like she was the failure. Diba? And then that's one of the reasons why the husband left because my baby yung ibang babae.
Oo, actually, ang inconsiderate sobra.
I know.
Di ba pwede pumili ka na lang ng iba, workmate mo, tapos meron pang anak yung babae na they can't have. Parang it's just so, everything your wife isn't.
Yeah.
Or can't you just move to another state?
Diba?
And-
Instead, you have to work together and then have that
Yeah.
awkward workplace conversation. What the hell?
Or be the bigger man and ikaw na lang mag-quit ng job mo kung ganun ka nga talaga ka-successful. Okay, naalala ko na. It's all coming back. Kung
It's all
bakit ako nainis sa
coming
lalaki.
back, it's all coming back to me now.
So, di ba? Parang,
Yeah.
sana yun man lang na plano mo.
I know, just for the consideration. But instead, he even said, like, I thought you'd be okay. I thought you'd be okay. And it's like, sir!
Tao siya, ate!
I know. And
In
he
what
didn't even
world
check
would it
in
be
on
okay?
her. Yeah. Maybe siya yan. But yeah, that's what made me annoyed at him.
What about Gary?
Gary! I like Gary. I think he's very communicative. But also, my little alarm bells were going off because if I had a fiance and you're days away from getting married and you're literally checked into the hotel, your whole family is there, and then you are openly flirting with like another woman, that's like a ring, 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 ring. That's a really bad. I mean, like Gary's boundaries were a bit iffy at best. But other than that, I like that he's communicative and that like he really looks out for his daughter and he's just trying to do the best that he can. And he seems to have a really good grasp on who he is. Like what his shortcomings are, like what he's good at. But yeah, just the boundaries with Phoebe was a bit
Level up sangkap, extra creamy sarap pa. Manginasang extra creamy halo-halo. Bigat na, kaya mas mabango.
for me.
Ako ayoko lang na masyado siyang parang passive follower. Although yun nga,
Yun
linabas
ang-
naman
oo.
eventually na he
Coping
just needed. Oo.
mechanism.
But still, parang unfair on Lila's end, di ba?
Yeah.
Siguro kasi parang okay, he's done already
And he's
with
the older
love, great love and
one.
everything. Yeah.
She's so young. See, Lila's like
Yeah,
what, 20?
pre-30.
Yeah.
Ganon.
And Gary's like 30,
40?
40s.
Oo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So parang siguro he's like, oh, I'm so done with the great love stuff na. I just wanna have someone.
Yeah.
Ganun. Parang medyo, I just don't like the passivity of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Gets.
Oh. Naka-all caps ako sa notes ko dito.
Shouting.
So parang ito yung note ko na how self-focused or parang hindi self-centered pero yung self-centered.
Charades pala.
Ano, geographically. Locationally speaking, our marriages. Kasi parang yung naging problema sa marriage nila is yung selves. They didn't get to meet each other anymore.
Yeah.
At some point. Tapos yun nga yung outpacing, outgrowing.
Yeah.
Tapos yun yung naging decision point nila to give up on each other or leave each other. So, pero kasi di ba parang when you're married, you gotta just ride it out. I don't know.
I think
Pero
it's
ang
such
hirap.
an interesting dilemma because, like, the human condition, we create routines to make our life easier. Like, it takes out all of that extra energy and focus that we need to put into our day to day because it makes it efficient, makes it easier, making our lives simpler. But the thing is, I feel like as soon as we fall too much into routine, we go into autofocus. And when we're in autofocus, you kind of take the other person for granted because you're operating on that kind of shallow spectrum. You're not really like being present and being like checking in and like, how are you really?
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I know this person. I see them every day. They should be fine.
Alam mo
Like,
na
how's
lang,
your day?
pag-upo mo
Good,
pala,
good,
ay, bad trip
okay.
siya ngayon.
Yeah.
Ay, masaya siya ngayon. You don't need to talk about it.
I think as soon as that intentionality and that present, like that effort to be present starts to like lessen and lessen, I think that's when it starts to spell disaster.
I'm so scared! Because yung mga wake-up calls na lang din of those moments is kung magka-big fight na kayo.
But I think fights are healthy, aren't they? Because they're like
are.
reset buttons. Like,
Pero pagka-routinary na kayo masyado, tapos,
yeah.
alam mo yun, hindi na big deal yung fights. Parang kahit na i-plan out ko siya ngayon, iniisip ko talaga siya, like, kung ito mangyari, tapos I'm married na ganun, paano? Like, kaya bang iwasan na maging that passive? Or, diba?
Ang hirap to say because like who you will be in that moment will be different from how you are now. There's like a lot of different things that will play in and factor in. But I think it just matters that you have a partner, that you've already practiced conflict resolution with each other during dating and stuff. Because I feel like that just gets magnified in marriage. And when you can't do it alone, you reach out for help. Like either with your close circles or relational therapy.
Yeah.
Your book club.
Find comfort in books.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing that really, really scares me. Because I know that the solutions that we have now in para if I have a I have a if wait lang, nalilito na ako. I'm not married.
Yeah.
In my relationship now, di ba parang I'm sure that these solutions now won't work in the future necessarily, di ba?
Yun na nga,
Kasi
yeah.
gamit na yung mga card na yun. Pero alam mo yun, like, I guess this book also gave me the comfort na nakakatakot ang marriage. Hindi na, alam mo yun, there's so much to figure out on your own pa. Kasi parang siguro dumating din ako sa point ng life ko na parang wait lang, parang sawa na akong pag-aralan yung life on my own. I feel like I learned my lessons already. But then, this book, faced with all my fears about marriage, na parang siguro, at the back of my mind, I'm like, I'll just deal with it later when it already happens. But like, now that I'm face to face with my greatest fears, it's like, ang dami ko pa palang dapat i-discover sa sarili ko na, being comfortable in being alone, in stillness and nothingness. What if, kasi lalo na, for example, in the pages of our lives, we were crowned, 6-8 years ago. It was an exciting life.
Yeah.
Pero life, yung pace ng life won't always be like
No,
that.
of course not.
And yun yung pace natin ng life na lagari talaga tayo. And then now, it's a different pace na naman. So, yeah, I guess, until recently, I realized din na, totoo yung adage.
Same. Tomato.
Basta, yung kasabihan na lang po. Totoo pala yung kasabihan, hindi totoo, mabigat. Yung kasabihan na change is the most constant thing
in your
in this life. And
Yeah.
it's so scary, but I learned to really just embrace it. Because it was hard to accept, especially coming from the adrenaline high pace that we were in.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
And then what
Super
if
gets.
20 years from now, it'll be parang our kids are grown up. Or, diba? Parang,
Yeah, because like in the different chapters of life, diba? Like I always thought, like jumping off what you said, na kala ko, okay, for my early 20s, it's gonna discover myself, like who am I? And then once I get into a serious relationship, then it's gonna be me and the other person. Pero like that focus on self should always be present. Because otherwise, you end up just conforming to fit another person na baka that's not actually what they want pala, or maybe they'll change. And I think that's the scariest thing for me in the book. Now, becoming a version of myself that wasn't really what I wanted, but it's not what I should do in the name of love for someone else, and then they change their mind at the end of the day. Yun ang scary for me. But when you think about it as well, it's like, for example, like ideally, God willing, like we have kids, and then what happens when those kids grow older and they leave the house, and then like we're alone? Or like what if, God forbid, like something happens to your partner and you're widowed? You know, like life can go in every single direction. So like imagine if you sacrificed or left yourself behind all those years ago, only to like be faced with catastrophe later on, and that's the only point that you realize, like, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I just a person in service of others, but never like looking after myself? Like, so I know that we're just kind of airing our thoughts here on the very complicated topic of relationships. Pero I think it's just really having that focus on yourself, not to be selfish, but to know you, so that when someone else comes into the equation, at least you can also be honest with them as much as you possibly can, like to say that these are my needs, this is how I'm showing up for you.
Yeah.
Kasi I mean, hopefully that would
Have
be.
you learned that now?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely in the process of learning that as well. Like, because life is just so unpredictable. And not to say that it's you against the world, but like through some of your hardest moments, they are the loneliest moments. And in the loneliest moments, you have yourself. And it can be very, very scary if you're in that moment and you're like, I don't even know who I am or what I want. That's scary.
And I would actually go so far as saying that you will never really fully know who you are.
Yeah.
I thought I knew who I was at 25.
Because it keeps changing.
Yeah, at 30, diba? So parang, I hope that I learn not to treat it as a crisis, or not to feel like
Yeah.
it's a crisis.
Yeah.
Diba? Or sana I could see it one day na it's exciting.
Yeah.
Na, wait, I have to learn something pa about myself. And actually, a few weeks ago, I was in my car. And I was like,
driving
Ganon
down
talaga pag
EDSA.
traffic. Pag Christmas na siya, dahil mo naisip.
True.
Pero I forgot my, yung realization point ko. But I was thinking na, I still thank God for unanswered prayers and unrealized dreams. Kasi at the time na I feel empty, or I feel like I need to find myself again, I can always go back to those dreams.
Yeah.
Like, those aren't left in your past naman. They're just waiting for you
to take them off the shelf.
Oo, na magtugma din yung right time mo to
Yeah.
finally take it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if you're in a marriage and then you're already in that phase, as Phoebe, for example, and I'm sure that we will get there also, sis, na we will realize, oh wait, I am not who I am anymore. I miss my old self. And I guess this is a wake-up call and a time capsule also to future us. Na you can always go back to your old dreams. So that they're just there. They're just waiting for you to like finally act on it or something. Like there's no time limit on it. And if it's not old dreams, it's like these collected dreams that you have in every season of your life. And hopefully you have new dreams then for yourself, no matter how small or big. Maybe it's just like finishing a mural of a cross stitch or something. I don't know why I thought of
random.
that. Maybe that's one of my dreams. I used to do a lot of cross stitch.
We're just going full Lola now.
Yeah. Pero talagang na-immerse ko sarili ko sa future self ko being in a Lola outfit today. But yeah, time capsule. Hello, future Nicole and Kat. Maybe reunion podcast like Paris and
My gosh,
Nicole Richie.
10 years later.
Yeah. So yeah, pero also pala what I like about this book kasi diba it gets so muddled na rin, like even as we're discussing it na nakakatakot nga marriage, walang answer at all in whatever situation or circumstance, walang sure path na will ensure your success in a relationship. Pero the character here, yung sister ng would-be groom, sana si Marla, she's a very tricky character. Pero I realized that she is actually the answer. Na she was the one who made a choice.
Yeah.
Like she cheated and then feeling
Sa
niya,
husband niya.
sa husband niya. Tapos feeling niya kasi ang dami yung frustrations with her sex life. And yung sex life na tackle din ni Phoebe na parang I wanna be yung mga I wanna be
Fantasy
desired.
niya,
Ganong fantasy ng girls. In the book.
That pause though. Biglang. G-rated.
So, para I feel like it's such an honest confession talaga na I wanna be desired. And then, nag-send ng dirty text yung husband niya sa kanya na nagugulat si Phoebe kasi accidentally nababasa niya habang nag-waze siya or something.
And yun ang instruction ng therapist nila.
So parang
couples
it's just so
therapy.
admirable na yung pinaka-wacky na character na hindi mo expect. She's so stiff in front of people. Like, yung facade niya, sobrang may disconnect. Like, high-nose siya, snob siya. Pero like, may kinky side pala siya. And maybe she's that kind of person, you know? Yung love language niya to be desired and pinned to a wall in a million different ways. Why not? Feminism, woo! And then, then the husband is willing to do it, for her then. Na parang alam mong ang awkward ng dirty text yan, na parang hindi to praktisado. Yung gano'n, like,
And also, like, it was interesting and like very like realistic to see that even though they're going to that effort to try and go out of their comfort zone and to kind of express desirability to each other, they're still awkward with each other. And she admitted, like, I know that I've broken his trust and I don't know how long it's gonna take, if ever I'll be able to rebuild it again, but I'm gonna try.
So
very
at the
raw
end of
and
the day,
real.
it's a choice between two people who decide to continue to keep trying.
Yeah.
So I guess yun yung key.
Yeah. Our future selves will know.
Read this again, future self.
So I hope you guys really like take the time to read this book. I know we've gone on a few tangents about the different themes, but it is really so well written. It's funny, it's relatable, it tackles a lot of heavy topics, but it doesn't feel heavy when you're reading it. And it's a quick, light read. Masaya pang vacation read since school vacations and all. Is this appropriate for school children? Maybe not, but
no. No.
Check your triggers, because again, there is a intention of unaliving, but that's really the only one, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And miscarriage.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
slight mention. So just check that. But we really do recommend it. If you do read it, please let us know and comment below what resonated with you, or if anything that we've discussed today is something you're interested in, maybe drawing out for a future episode. We'd be happy to.
Yeah, and please share with us also like yung mga, because we're not married, yung mga marriage experiences nyo.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be couples also in the comment section who would want to hear your stories that they're going through the same thing. So let this be an open forum for that. And you guys kept asking us where you guys could get the book, yung Betty before, kasi medyo hindi
Hard to
siya
find dito
sikat
sa
na
Pinas.
book. So for this one, I'm not sure if Fully Book carries it.
It should,
But Fully Book,
yeah.
we've been messaging you to like collaborate with us to be like Book of the Month pick of Nicole and Kat, so that our readers can easily access
Find it.
Yeah. Oo, and makasabay sila mag-read with us. So we would love to partner with you, Fully Book. But thank you so much for sending us so many books.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully, one of them will be our future book of the month. But for now, it is The Wedding People. So if you guys also want to send us a telegram, you can also do that at Two Steps Back Podcast at gmail.com.